Rachel, are you ready? Yes.
Yeah, I'll record.
Good evening. Good evening. So, all black. Interesting choice. Well, before you fix your mind to ask us what's wrong or who died, why don't you ask yourself why you equate blackness with death? In spite of all these recent deaths, it's time to bring blackness back to life. I know that's heavy. Trust me, it's intentional. Because I want you to understand that the decision you've made to join this organization is heavy. And I can't in good conscience stand here with a bubbly feel-good message because we're not in a bubbly feel-good time. This is not the time to be doused in fantasy, nor is it a time where we can afford to take organizations like this lightly. Last night I had a dream that I was oppressed in my own space by my own race, and woke up and stayed angry because I couldn't calm myself from that reality. There was no notion of it being just a dream because it wasn't just a dream. We see it daily. Perhaps you've heard the anecdote of the horse who had become so accustomed to being tied down that after a while, its master knew even if the horse's restraints were left unattached to anything, that the horse would remain in the same spot. It had been conditioned to accept the boundaries of its restraints, and consequently, it held itself captive, even when the opportunity for freedom was present. This self-oppression that I speak of is not a monster of our own creation, but an effect of years of white supremacist ideals, transferred into the minds of blacks, planted as seeds of self-hatred and watered by the messages of the media in our environments, and passed down generation to generation. As Willie Lynch predicted, we have become a self-sufficient machine that has autopiloted previously implemented plans to destroy us as a race. This is to say that self-subservience and mental slavery has been so deeply instilled into so many of us Africans born in America that white supremacists can count on their ideals to be continued through us. Now we have white supremacy in a multicolored face. Come and get it fresh off the shelves, all flavors and varieties. They can count on the new episodes of the Jim Crow minstrel show to feature white supremacy in a black face that doesn't wash off. So even where some may be more inclined to trust the word of someone that looks like them, there's a high likelihood that even that has been compromised.
Come on, man.
The point I'm making is this. We don't just learn these ideals from white supremacists. We teach them to each other in word and deed. We do degrade and objectify our women. We do emasculate our men. We do perpetuate tactics implemented back on the plantations to divide and destroy us as a thriving race. Dark versus light, hair, good versus bad, territorial divides, and lower class versus black bourgeoisie.
Come on, man.
We still calling each other niggas and get mad when the elders tell us to stop perpetuating that. We let that divide remain between the old and the youth. We reject their wisdom and subsequently allow ourselves to be spoon-fed garbage from our surrogate parent, the media. We take our anger out on each other. Let me clarify. We vomit up self-hate and throw it at each other.
Come on, come on.
We do treat our lives like they don't matter. Some by taking the lives of others and others by wasting their lives. We do allow ourselves to be tricked into not valuing education. We do act like the fight is over, aside from the occasional widely publicized responses to an act of racism. And we did just bring up a generation that for 8 years watched a president that looked like us advocate specifically for every group but us.
Come on. Say it.
How are we countering the many messages with that sense? I ask that you please do not take my words as an attack on black people. This is not an attack, but it is a moment for realization. It is a moment to take a step back and look at how we are being used to play a role in our own oppression. Many of these things are cycles formed on patterns of behavior that resulted from trauma a long time ago. Post-traumatic slave disorder is not a joke. 302 years ago, Willie Lynch wrote a quote-unquote foolproof method for controlling black slaves. He said that if installed correctly, it would control the slaves for at least 300 years through the breaking of uncivilized savage